Okay, my dear students. Last class we discussed about the types of account and how it is connected to the debit and credit. Asset and expense come under one category and equity liability income come under other category. Asset and expense balances increases, decreases. Asset expense balance is debit side, equity liability income credit side. If there is an increase under asset or expense, it is debit, credit, equity liability opposite side. So this is we discussed in the last class also, right? After that, today we are going to discuss about how accounting equation connected to this debit and credit. Okay, directly let's go to an example. This is an answer of some transactions given in accounting equation. So I don't want to explain you this accounting equation because that was the lesson we have already completed and you have prior knowledge about this. So number one, capital introduced by the owner. Number two, bank loan obtained. Number three, bank loan repaid. Number four, drawings in cash. And finally, rent paid. Okay, now let's connect the previous knowledge. Asset and expense increases debit, equity liability increases credit. Asset and expense decreases credit, equity liability income decreases debit. So in that theory, if you come, asset increases debit side, equity increases credit side. B, asset increases debit, liability increases credit. C, asset decreases credit, liability decreases debit. D, asset decreases credit, equity decreases debit. Finally, asset decreases credit and equity decreases debit. So this is how we convert this plus and minus into debits and credits. Debits and, if you see one more example, this example you can see 90,000 cash increases. So since it is asset, we can say it is debit. Number two, furniture increases and asset, debit. C, asset decreases, credit. D, asset increases, debit. E, credit. F, there is a plus and minus, no problem. Plus is debit, minus is credit. G, asset increases debit. When you come to equity column, increases credit, decreases debit. So credit, credit, debit, debit. Likewise, if you come to liability, increases credit, so credit, credit. So this is how we convert the plus and minus into debits and credits. Debits and credits. How we transfer the plus and minus into debits and credit based on the rule what we learn, asset in based on the rules what we learn, types of account and debit credit increase decrease. Based on this only we found the debits and credits. Okay, once again I will come back to this same question what we discussed earlier. In this we have marked the debits and credits. Now I am going to teach you what is double entry means. Double entry mean for every transaction recording one debit and a credit. So if you look at transaction A, there is a debit and there is a credit. Look at the transaction B, there is a debit, there is a credit. Look at transaction C, there is a debit over here and there is a credit. There is a credit, there is a debit. So every transaction has a debit and a credit, has a debit and a credit. This is called double entry. Sometimes in exam, they will give you this equation and they will ask you to write the double entry. So today we are going to learn how to write the double entry. When you write the double entry for a transaction, first we mark rupees. First point that you have to remember, when you are going to write the double entry, my dear students, no plus minus to be written under the double entry. In accounting equation, there can be plus and minus. In accounting equation, there can be plus and minus. But when you write the double entry, the final double entry, there will be no debit, sorry, there will be no plus minus. Only debits and credits come. That plus 64 become debit 64. This plus 12,000 become debit 12,000. This plus minus 6,000 become credit 6,000. So no plus minus in the answer when you come to double entry. Accounting equation, of course, no problem. Okay, let's see how to write the double entry. First point, as I said, no plus minus in the answer. Second point, when you write the answer as double entry, if they ask you to write double entries, write the double entries. Double entry mean it comes debit first. Debit first. You have to write the debit first. Therefore, first entry A, asset increases 64,000, cash debit side. So we have to write, since it is cash, you have to write cash account debit 64,000 rupees. Cash is here inside the bracket, you can see in the A. So cash account debit 64. We know how did we find the debit, right? Because asset increase. So once you write the debit, next line, not comma, next line, we have to write the credit entry. Capital is the bracket. You can see capital account credit 64,000. This is how we write the final double entry. This is how we write the final double entry. So you can see the debit side, you have cash here. So cash account debit. You have credit capital here. So capital account credit. When you write debit and credit, you see in front of 64 there is no plus. No plus. That only we convert into what? Debit credit. And remember, you always write the debit first. Next line we have to write the credit entry, not comma. So in that manner, let's see B. In B, what is the debit entry? Again, cash account debit side. So B, when you come to rupees, cash account debit 12,000. And bank loan account credit 12,000. I have marked the debit and credit in short form DRCR. An account I have written ACAC, account. Account. It is internationally accepted, so don't worry, you can write it like that. Debit DR, credit CR. Then we come to next one. Next one, C. When you come to C, cash account credit, cash account credit, and bank loan account debit. As I instruct you earlier, it is mandatory, it is compulsory to write the debit first. Therefore, bank loan account debit 6,000. Debit first. Bank loan account debit. Debit we have to write first. Otherwise, it is wrong. You are wrong. Okay. Then cash account credit 6,000. In that way, if you come to D, my dear, you have drawings account debit, that is first. Cash account credit, next slide. Last one, E. Cash credit, rent debit. So rent account debit, 5,000 rupees. No minus in front of 5,000 when you write the answer here, right? Cash account credit 5,000. Cash account credit 5,000. I hope you understand. Okay, let's go to another question and see. This already we marked the debit credit. We discussed same question. So if you come to the double entries, how the double entry come? Cash account debit 90,000, capital account credit 90,000. Cash account debit, capital account credit. Okay, my dear student, I hope you understand what I explained. With this, first of all, you have to send the answer for this question. The double entries, you have to write the double entry for this question, and I will send two more questions in the group. Altogether, three answers you have to send, not to my number, another number that I gave in the group to send the answers. I hope you understand. Never give up. Bye, bye students.